this meeting to order. The first item on the agenda is to recess to close meeting to consider matters pursuant to Texas Government Code 551.071. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second. Moved by Mr. Vasquez, second by Mr. Nakata. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We will be now going into closed meeting session, and we should come back. I guess we have a long closed meeting, so we'll be back in a couple of hours. Thank you. An hour and a half. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, and liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much for being so patient and waiting for us. And at this point in time, I just want to take this moment to recognize that we do have a lot of young people from the high school with the junior leadership. If you all can please stand so I can recognize all the young people that are here. And also at this time, there are three city commissioners with us present today: Dr. Rose Gowan, Melissa Zamora, and Charlie Atkinson. Welcome to our meeting. As far as getting back to our agenda, there was no action on the closed meeting, right, Mr. Rodriguez?
There was no action taken other than that legally allowed.
Okay, so just to update everybody, Mr. Brusiak, as far as your general manual.
Okay, we have an update on the wellness activity. Lucy had a short presentation, and Dr. Gowan wanted to address the board for a minute.
Chairman, members of the board, this is our second year of our activity at PUB. We're part of the Biggest Loser campaign, and what we did is we partnered with HEB, and we had an activity on March the 26th. And our leader of this project was actually Sylvia Cancino, and we had project leaders as well. We had Emilia Guerra, Elda Espinosa, Grace Galindo, Diane Solitaire, and Alicia Warner. And we did a presentation. Alicia did a presentation on the activity itself. It was divided into three sections. We call it the pharmacy section, the cooking connection, and then the power connection. And I'll go ahead and show the PowerPoint. And this is our logo. It has the PB logo, and PB connects to wellness. And this is the flyer that we put together. We also have some ads in the paper. And again, we have the cooking connection, power up connection, and again, this is one of the emphasis, and this is some of our volunteers. We have 36 employees that volunteered that Saturday in pictures. This was the interest. We also have people greeting, and this is, you can see Leandro greeting some of our customers. And we're now at the cooking section, and this was the Emilia's section. And we have the cooks there, the chefs there at HEB, showing the customers how to cook healthy. And we chose the HEB on a Saturday because they do get a lot of customers coming in, and that way we could get more people informed about cooking healthy, being healthy, exercising, and then also taking their medications, whatever they need to do to stay healthy. And this is in our pharmacy, the HEB pharmacy section. And we also had giveaways for the customers. These are pill boxes. At the cooking connection, we had reusable bags. And also the customers could also sign up for a raffle for, it was a bike, a scale, or a blender, but they had to stay at the 3 different presentations in order to be able to submit for the raffle. So we did, have them listen to the 3 presentations before they could be eligible for the raffle. And the pharmacists there at HEB also did presentations for the customers. We also had, Elda brought up, introduced us to Zumba chair exercise, where you actually sit in your chair and you're able to do your exercises. And this was a hit with the customers. And we actually had our managers, the directors do the chairs Zumba at one of our meetings.
Can we do Zumba right now?
Welcome to come to the next meeting. I'm not familiar with it. Last year we were doing aerobics and we didn't get much participation, but this was a hit with the customers, and anyone can do that, the elderly, so.
The elderly board.
And that's Elda up there. Like I said, we had a raffle, one for the customers and one for the employees. And we had the customer raffle there that afternoon, and on Monday, we had the raffle for the employees. Those are the people who won there. And the guest that won the raffle, her name was Josefina Garcia, and our employee's name was Josefina Garcia as well, but it's not the same person. These are some of the comments made by the customers.
Good job.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you for giving me 5 minutes. I know that y'all are busy. I actually asked John to let us do Zumba here at your board meeting, but he told me you guys didn't have any rhythm. So, I don't know,
Well, maybe on that side of the.
We have a very big task ahead of us in this community, and that is to change behavior of 200,000 people. And that's, as you might imagine, a very daunting task. The fact is that message is going to have to be multiple messages in different directions to different people, crafted over and over and over again, which is why it's so important for the PUB to participate, because you are such a large presence in the community. And I have to say, Art Rodriguez, our health department director, is here with me today, that it's been very fun to see each entity participate in their own way and add their own flavor to how they want to present their interests. And you guys have outdone yourselves. Your team has been incredibly organized, incredibly forward-thinking, proactive, and it looked like they were having fun as well as all the people there. And this year, I believe there were more people that crowded around each station to listen and participate in the Zumba and such. So Art and I wanted to come and thank you very much for your participation, and hope that you continue to participate with us. And Art and Bean are going to tell you just one more minute about a couple of events that still are to come.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
I just want to remind everyone about our Zumba event and our event, also the finale. If you're following our activities on the Facebook, Biggest Loser Facebook page, there is a lot of activity, and it's a lot of the younger generation that have really embraced this technology. But it's interesting to see that even someone like myself who didn't know what Facebook was is now reading and hearing the comments from people talking not only about the Biggest Loser activities, and more so about the Zumba events that we're working towards here on April 30th. So I really want to say thank you, because it really gives the appearance that this is a true community effort. And thank you for that.
Thank you.
Well, I just want to really challenge you guys to the Zumba, because we want to set a new world record. And without you, we're not going to be able to do it. And your PUB employees have been fantastic. You have a great team. Now, we want to see you guys out there being a part of the team, not that you're not, but we want to see you shake your booty.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, on behalf of the board, I just want to commend you all for taking this initiative on creating this healthy attitudes toward in the community, and then also want to commend management and the employees for participating and taking a leadership role, because I know that we have over 500 employees, and healthy attitudes do convert into healthy actions in all sorts of different ways. So I just want to commend everybody for all their participation in this important project for the city of Brownsville. Thank you. Okay.
Move on to item number 3.
Okay, we're now finished with the general manager's report. Item number 3, we have consideration and approval of the sponsorship for the city of Brownsville Kid event.
We have Commissioner Melissa Zamora here to make a short presentation tonight.
Hello,
Welcome,
good
Commissioner
evening,
Zamora.
honorable board. Thank you for allowing me to come before you this evening. And to echo some of what Commissioner Gowan said, we're very appreciative of your efforts and for your continued support of quality of life projects like Biggest Loser. And much of this project that we are presenting before you today has to do with quality of life and reintroducing children to the outdoors. We want them to turn in their Xbox and embrace their tackle box and spend more time outdoors, enjoying the weather with their family. And this is an all-free event that the city of Brownsville is putting together in partnership with a local organization known as Las Huellas. I do have a PowerPoint presentation, Mr. Prisca?
Yes, it should be set up. Should turn on.
This event coming up will be on May 21st, but this PowerPoint pertains to last year's event, just to show you the magnitude of the event and how many people participated. I'm not so tech savvy, so please bear with me. Last year's event and this year's event as well was held on the Resaca adjacent to the Brownsville Event Center. We had more than 1,500 people show up. It was an all-free event. There's the Resaca. The Las Huellas organization stocked the Resaca with more than 1,000 pounds of catfish, and they minnow-seined it off to where the catfish was confined to one area, and that was the competition area for the children. And they are bringing in the catfish. Some catfish were tagged for special prizes. We had numerous volunteers from the community, from local organizations to private individuals coming in to participate for the event. We distributed more than 150 free fishing rods to the community, and we had to put them together prior to the event, and that's what we're doing here. Registration began at 8 o'clock last year, and we had people in line beginning at 5:30 in the morning. We had numerous giveaways, goodie bags with t-shirts and caps and PV donated yo-yos. That was a godsend because of the long lines. We were able to distribute all the yo-yos and keep the children occupied. Some of our volunteers taking photos with some of the families and children who received a free fishing rod. All the families lined up alongside the Resaca. For many children, this was the first time that they had ever fished. Catfish being brought in to be measured. We had numerous organizations from the community. This is the Craft Loft. We had the University of Texas at Brownsville and Texas Southwest College, PUB, local hospitals. We had other activities just in case the children became bored and weren't able to catch a fish. We were able to keep them occupied with lots of fun activities. This is United Way's Book of the Month Club, so they were able to participate as well. There's the university distributing information on financial aid. This was our award ceremony where we had other giveaways and door prizes. And these are the many sponsors, volunteers, and event participants. As you can see, we had many people from the community come together to support this all-free event. And this is why we need your support, because not every child was able to receive a free fishing rod. We did have some loaner rods, but those that weren't able to get a rod managed to find a way to fish anyway. So I'm here before you today to solicit your support, financial support, of course. You're not the only sponsor, and you probably won't be the only sponsor up until the event. We are very fortunate to receive lots of in-kind sponsorships, monetary sponsorships, and have many people interested in just donating items. So I would greatly appreciate if not only you would provide sponsorship, but you would bring volunteers and maybe bring employees to help with the event. We are going to need probably more than 150 volunteers this year because we are planning to distribute more than 800 free fishing rods, free food, lots of activities. And I wanted to also bring up Las Vegas, who's a partner with the event, to talk a little bit about the Guinness Book of World Records that we're planning to also break in addition to the Zumbathon that being talked about in Commissioner Gowan. And he'll give you some more information on that.
Thank you, Commissioner. As Commissioner was saying, our event is going to be on May 21st. Registration is from 6 to 8 o'clock, and then fishing is from 8 to 11. We hope to break a world record for the largest fishing tournament. Right now, the largest fishing tournament is 796. Last year, we had well over 550 kids that participated in this event. Half of the kids were between the ages of 10 to 12. 60% of the kids were boys, 40% were girls, so the girls were right in there too. And if you can see right now on the champions last year, the girls beat the guys. So this year we're trying to break the world record. We're bringing down a adjudicator down here to certify the event. This year we're gonna stock the Resaca with 2,000 pounds of catfish. And as Commissioner was saying, we're gonna give out 800 rod and reels, 800 t-shirts, 800 goodie bags. This ended up being a very, very expensive event. It's an all-free event. We're up to like 35,000 racked down for this event. So we thank you for being a partner in this event.
Thank you very much. I know that it's an important event, and I appreciate all what you do for the children of Brownsville, and maybe for some adults out there that don't know how to fish. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your time, Chairman, honorable board members.
Thank you. Okay, this is an action item. We'll have a motion. I guess there's a recommendation here that the board needs to recommend on approving it and the amount.
I think it was around $3,500, I think, that they requested for.
35?
I'll make the motion. Yeah.
Second.
Okay, so there's a motion to approve support of financial support of $3,500. Do I have a second?
Second.
First by Mr. Nakano, second by Mr. Nahosa. All in favor? Aye. Okay, thank you. We have your support.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I have a question. How do you keep everybody from getting all tangled up?
No, they get tangled up. Can't get away from that.
That's where you need all the volunteers.
That's the fun part.
Okay, thank you. Okay, now we go to item number 4. Consideration and action to assist the city of Brownsville with the funding of an air service agreement.
I don't think Larry's here, but I believe someone from the city is here to make a presentation.
Good afternoon, good evening. I'm Michael Jones. I work with Larry Brown. Larry's in Boston tonight. My job at the airport is air service development and marketing. And I think you know, if you've been watching, a few years ago we only had 1 airline and 3 flights. Today we have 2 airlines and 10 flights. The flight guide that our good friend, the airport's friend, being Al, just gave you, gives some of the 250 destinations in 40 countries you can fly to from Brownsville on American Airlines. And he gives some of the 308 destinations you can go to in the continent. One of our long-term goals, and we have it, an air service, quite a bit of background to pass out to you. We're not going to go over it all, but unless you have any questions about it. But one of our goals has been to have nonstop service to Mexico. There are and have been some direct flights, but you know, they tell me there's an airport in northern Camden County that advertises direct flights to Chicago, direct flights to Dallas. But what direct means is they stop somewhere else once or more before they get there. What we're pursuing and what we're asking your help in is nonstop service to Mexico, both Monterrey and Tampico. We've known that there's been a need for this service for a long time. If I can get Bean to help me again, our strategy developed by Sabre Airline Solutions, you may know Sabre and not know you know Sabre. Sabre invented airline reservations. They were part of American Airlines until about 10 years ago. And today they developed very successful strategies for airlines and airports to bring service to countries, cities and countries around the world. And in this background I've just given you, our first goal was to add a second airline. So for the first time in 31 years, we have that second airline, American Airlines, which at the time was the largest carrier in the free world. And it's a great, great addition to us, nonstop service to DFW. Our next goal is the nonstop service to Mexico. And that's what we're here to talk about tonight. We demonstrated with a Sabre study in 2006 that we could support 2 flights a day to Mexico City and 1 flight a day to Monterrey. We have been unable to find an airline interested in serving Mexico City nonstop from Brownsville, but we do have an airline called Fly from Terra that we're going to talk to tonight that's interested in serving both Monterrey nonstop and Tampico. And they would use 30-passenger Embraer turboprop aircraft, very nice leather seats. There's a full galley, so you can get a snack and a beverage. There's a full lavatory. The flight to Monterrey would be just under an hour. The flight to Tampico would be just more than an hour. And the plan, which we'll give you the schedule in just a minute, is for 2 flights a day to Monterrey and service to Tampico Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. The airline, what would be called Fly from Terra, is a combination of 2 companies, PC Charters, which will operate the aircraft, and Certified Air Transport, which owns the aircraft. And they provide this service around the country. There is something that the FAA allows to help stimulate small community air service, and they are a scheduled charter carrier. So you'll see their schedules in our flight guide. You'll see their schedules on Travelocity, Expedia, Experian, wherever you check wherever you buy your tickets, you will see their schedules in with American and Continental, and that airline flies to the airport in Camden County. So they're for real airline with very modern equipment that we think would serve this route well. And they have additional aircraft, so the service be so successful that we need greater frequency. There are some people who would rather ride on a wide-body aircraft 1 time a day to the destination, or others who would prefer a choice of 5 or 6 flights a day to the same destination to fit everyone's busy schedule today. We have an economic study that I think you'll be interested in. This was developed for our presentation. Bean, if I can get you Joe talks will help with this. This is an economic study developed by the University of Texas at Brownsville, and this shows the value to Brownsville and what we call a catchment area, which is Matamoros, the island, Brownsville, Los Fresnos, Port Isabel. The number of jobs it creates, the number of tax dollars it brings to the community, and the type of air service it provides. The study was based on larger aircraft, so the numbers will be smaller than the 30-seat aircraft, but it still will create jobs. It will put heads in beds in the hotels. It will bring shoppers. If you go through the economic study, it is so finite that even it shows how many jobs it will create in tortillerias throughout the catchment area. The Mexican shopper who will be on these flights is a much greater spender than the shoppers on our domestic flights. It's about 8 times as great, and you'll see that as you go through the economic study. I understand they're working on another study for BEDC that will specify this 30-seat aircraft, but it will add to the community jobs, tax revenues, and a tremendous air service. We have a long list of recommendations and support from the mayors of our sister cities, San Pedro Garcia, wealthy Monterey suburb, in fact, the wealthiest city in Mexico. Other mayors, companies who are saying to the airlines in these letters that Joel passed around to you, that we need the service in Brownsville. We don't think it's safe for our employees to fly to Matamoros and Reynosa. We don't think it's safe for them to drive. And these are open letters written for the airlines, for anyone interested in developing air service here in Brownsville. And the support is broad-based. Yes?
I have a question. I know there's a lot of private planes right now.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if there's a lot, but I know I've heard of a few going from here to Monterey. How many would you say are?
A few. Well, it's 40, 50, 60 a day, depending on the day. The new council.
From here to?
Yes. From Monterey to here.
To Brownsville, Monterey.
From the Monterey, there's 6 million people there. And of course, some come from Tampico, some come from Ciudad Victoria. You'll be interested. I beg your pardon?
Yeah, I just wanted him to tell you about the PFCs that we're not capturing at the airport.
Oh, that's one of the items outlined in the economic study. Every passenger who comes on a scheduled carrier pays a passenger facility fee of $4.50, which would be additional revenue to be invested here in the community. But to answer your question about the charters, yes, in fact, there's been some ads in the paper, but those are charters. They don't fly if they're not full, they're not scheduled. They're very small aircraft with no facilities. There won't be any drinks or meals and no lavatory. But the new consul general from Mexico here, Rodolfo Quilantan, led a delegation to Monterey last fall. And we met with the city leaders of Monterey, of the state of Nuevo Leon, and our sister city, San Pedro. And a lot of their friends were actually buying aircraft and hiring pilots to fly them, their business associates, and their families to their homes and businesses here in Brownsville and on the island and elsewhere across the valley. And the market is there. We have the Sabre data to prove that. And there's all sorts of anecdotal data as well. I mean, there's as soon as Fly Frontera put out the word they wanted to do this, they got hundreds of unsolicited emails saying, when does the service start? I have a family of 6. We want to come for Semana Santa. My business is in Brownsville. I need to get back and forth. So we feel very confident that the service will work. We do regularly meet with airlines, and I met last month with Viva Aerobus, which is Ryanair based in Monterey, Volaris, which is a new discount carrier based in Toluca, outside of Mexico City, and with Aeromexico, which everyone knows. And they're interested in providing service, but not today and not tomorrow. We would need to develop further studies that forecast at greater expense. It would be months before they could start service. In fact, we have a recap of our efforts in those meetings with those airlines. For us to wait to do that is a tremendous waste of an opportunity to provide air service now, to bring people here to shop in our stores, to stay in the hotels, to bring business here, commerce, and to vacation in the area. It's really difficult if you have a family to think about driving from Monterey to here or the other east. A lot of my neighbors have been caravanning 5, 6 Suburbans in a row together. Still, you have that feeling. Anything could happen at any time, and sometimes it does. And we don't want to use that as a marketing campaign. It's even uncomfortable to talk about, but it's a fact of life. It's not the reason we want to have to begin our service, but it is a reason. And we feel the service will do extremely well. We have worked on a draft air service agreement with this airline, which, when we get Joe to pass that around, spells out how it would work. They're asking for $500,000 up front, which is reasonable for an airline to start service. They have to buy equipment, they have to undergo training the pilots, they have to list their schedules and all of the services that you find when you go to Expedia or Travelocity. They have to be able to ticket, they have to have money in escrow. Then they are additionally asking for a maximum of $1 million per year in a revenue guarantee, a minimum revenue guarantee. The way that works is they want to achieve approximately a 75% load factor on their flights. That would be about 23 seats. At each end of each month, there would be a reconciliation, what they collected in fares, what they paid out in wages, and if they equal 23 seats or exceed it, we don't pay anything. If we fall short of 23 seats, then we have to make up the difference, up to $1 million the first and the second year. Should all of a sudden things change and there's peace in Mexico, the highways are open, there are other airlines flying, and we went out of the agreement, they went out of the agreement, any reason, no reason, there's an exit clause written into the contract where we either one of us can exit. But again, this service has been needed for so long. The last time we had nonstop flights to Monterrey, some of you may remember, was Aerolectoral, part of the division of Aeromexico. And when Salinas left office, a lot of the country's entities, including the two airlines, went bankrupt, and they stopped a lot of service. And that was the end of the nonstop flights to Monterrey from Brownsville. But we hope you will give this your consideration. We think it's a great investment. And Commissioner Charlie Atkinson has been working with the leaders of PC charters and as well as Fly Frontera, and he wants to say a word to you. If you have any questions, please.
Thank you. Thank you.
Chairman, members of the UV board. Last year, the city came to y'all and asked you to help out with some financial assistance for the city. I think it was you, Mr. Parias, who kind of challenged me in the way that, well, what are you gonna do so we don't get back to where we are next year? What are you gonna do to help Brownsville get in a place where you don't have to come back to PUB for assistance? And I take those words to heart, and what I've found is this opportunity for this Fly Frontera project to go through is something that is way beyond. I mean, we would be setting the pace for something that can take us. You don't even know. That's how Southwest started, small, and they went big. McAllen grew the last 30 years because they had a straight shot from Monterey to Reynosa, which was McAllen. You've seen what's happened in McAllen, how they're booming now in these last 25, 30 years because of that straight shot. And I've been on it. People cross our bridge in Matamoros and go to McAllen and then take off to Monterey because they didn't want to go through the roads here in Matamoros. So McAllen has benefited from the demographics of where we are. Here, you have an opportunity because now people are afraid to drive on that autopista because a lot of people are being subject to hijackings and kidnappings. You don't see those volumes of people coming, supporting the outlet malls or business in McAllen. We have a unique opportunity to change the dynamics to make Monterey, Tampico come to us in a more safer way, and it's through the airlines. You know, we have a way to change, and everybody's paying attention outside of Brownsville. I know there's people in Brownsville that are skeptical, and there's nothing wrong with being skeptical, but the information that we're providing to you is totally straight facts and straight opportunity for Brownsville. The first letter I gave you from Sunrise Mall, you can't say all these retailers inside the Sunrise Mall, I mean, they're yearning for more business. I mean, their numbers have dropped because of the roads coming into our city. Our retailers in Brownsville, they're not getting the same numbers either in these last 2 or 3 years, and it's because of the violence in Mexico. We gotta provide a new way to get them over here. This is a safer way, it's a legit way. Behind that letter from Sunrise Mall, and I think that some of the commissioners had some legit concerns on the fact that did BEDC and GBIC, put them through I want to say a vetting process. And that was a legit concern, and I can see why we had to stop and table this item, because this project has been put through the BEDC and through GBIC. GBIC was given a presentation, and They love the opportunity because it's a tool. Having this airline is a tool for our Port of Brownsville to excel. PUB can benefit because of all the houses and the retail and more businesses starting up, which means more electricity they gotta spend. You know what I mean? It all functions in one. And we can't lose out on this opportunity because of some of the negativity out there. Everybody has a right to voice their opinion about this, but the due diligence is getting done. If you see behind that letter from Sunrise Mall, you have email between public charters and the BEDC where they're saying they just signed on the deadline today for a non-disclosure of the financials. That never had a problem with showing the financials. They just didn't think, what the commission told these people is like, you know what, we forgot to put you through this process. We're okay with what you're doing, but you didn't go through this vetting process. See, public charters and public transport, they're in operation right now. I mean, if you go to the northeastern seaboard, you're gonna see their planes flying. That means they've met TSA security clearances, they've met FAA guidelines, and some of the websites that they put on there, they wanna show you all, and the city, and us commissioners, that hey, we're legit. We're not a startup company. They're not a startup company. There is another company who, Pan Am Airways, Cargo, who felt they should have had a chance, but they were considered a new business because they are a new business. It's not the old Pan Am from the 1929s. This is a whole new business. So therefore, they didn't qualify for GBIC funding or BDC funding because they were considered a new startup company, so they weren't allowed to go through that process. See, but that's not what you hear in the paper. But I'm here to tell you exactly what's going on there. This company is an existing company right now, flying as we speak, and they do international flights already. So they were put in the same category as a Continental and American Airlines because they're already currently flying. So the security clearances they go through are way more than what the BDC and GBIC is asking, but they don't mind. You see the letter, they're saying, here, I'm gonna give you my financials. I don't wanna give them up without a non-disclosure, but here it is. I think that's why it didn't pass at the city commission last week, because we were missing that one last piece of the puzzle, which they're saying, no problem. See, but we are we're in a situation at the city of Brownsville that we need to step up and provide our retailers and our realtors and all other amenities here in Brownsville a chance to tap into new dollars. You can have 50 to 60,000 people coming into Brownsville in this whole next year if this were to take off. Our goal is to revitalize our downtown area, which I'm a very big part of that. I want that. But there's no way Brownsville can revitalize the downtown area with just our local people here. We need to bring in people from Mexico. We need to bring people in from out of the city. And this is, the studies are that Dr. Malaki from our United Brownsville, they're on board. United Brownsville is working with this doctor to provide these return of investment, the things that I hear out there. And there was a return of investment on this project. It was a 5-year project? It was 5 years ago they did this study. But I think some of the commissioners will, hey, that's a 2005 study, let's get a new one. So the doctor's working on that study right now and should have it ready by Friday. So those are just the little things that the city commission had some concerns with. But the bottom line, there was always a mechanism like GBIC. GBIC decided, you know what? We're gonna approve 250,000 and $1 million and 750,000. They're in as partners with the city of Brownsville. The goal of our city was to go and ask other entities like yourselves for assistance because we are kind of strapped for cash at the city. But this is such a unique opportunity to totally get out of the rut we've been in for the last 20 years and do something that we can bring in new dollars to our city. It's a proven fact. You know, another project that I've been on was this sports park. This last weekend, if anybody went out there, there was about over 4,000 people there. A good 1,000 of it was from San Antonio and other places around. Those people stayed in our hotels. Those people ate at restaurants. Those people bought clothes. That's how the city makes money on the back end. You know, that's how we make, those 250,000 is really, really a small investment for what we can get on the back end. And the back end is how we survive in Brownsville. We should have more property taxes coming in. This could help. You know, people in Monterey, they want to invest in the Port of Brownsville and in Brownsville, but they have to go all the way to Houston and then back to Brownsville. That's been the problem. We're inconveniencing these investors that want to invest here because they have to go spend a whole day traveling. This is a 40-minute flight from Monterey to Brownsville for $130. These 16 flights that they're getting a day at the Brownsville airport, they're paying $400 round trip. $400 round trip. You know what I mean? So we see, and on the weekends, there's like 30 flights of these little taxi services. And Brownsville doesn't capture any of those PFCs, those passenger fee charges. If we were to have this airline, and this airline came in with the right type of plane, the 30-seater. It's a small, they started conservative. Let's fill up 30 seats. And the studies are there to prove that it can be filled. If we start there, then the PFCs can range between 360 to 400,000 a year coming to the city airport, so we don't have to subsidize the airport anymore. I mean, the airport comes to our city commission and asks for $260,000 every year to help them with subsidies because they're not making it. And we gladly do that. Why? Because it's a service. Our Brownsville citizens want to go to Houston, want to go to Dallas. So we gladly look at it just like our bus. Our bus doesn't really make a lot of money, but people need buses. People need buses and people need transportation. And with everything that's going on in Brownsville, you know, this is a unique opportunity. And like barring this last piece of the puzzle, which they'll get by Friday. I talked to Jason Hills today, he goes, we'll get it. We'll get this financial portfolio. They're gonna send it over tomorrow, they'll look at it. By Friday, it'll be a done deal. And so that's where we're trying to come up before you all to help us out. And I'm sure you have a lot of business people that do business with PUB that come from Mexico also. It's just a great time to be part of this instead of saying, oh, somebody who thought about this was this or that. I don't care about that anymore. It's about what's in front of you and the facts in front of you. That these two businesses that are put together are legit businesses that are currently flying. So do we need your help? Yes. GBIC stepped up and gave the city $250,000 and $750,000 on the back end that may never be touched. If this takes up, it's not, you know, you hear in the papers $2 million. It's not $2 million. If they don't fly one person in a year, yeah, we'd have to tap into that $1 million a year for 2 years. But if we get over 20 people flying in an aircraft, then nothing, you don't spend that money. We don't spend that money at all. And then if we get over 22 seats, that money gets credited back. So it's less and less that the airport would need to subsidize. So it's just a lot of misinformation going on in Brownsville, and to set the record straight is we do need you. I'm not gonna lie to you. And I've met with most of you on why our city, you know, I don't want to raise taxes. I don't want to raise taxes at all. I'm against raising taxes, but sooner or later we're going to be in a predicament where we can't help but to raise taxes. But I would raise taxes knowing there was no other way to do it but to raise taxes. But here's an opportunity. You have an opportunity to help our retailers, our realtors, our banks, everybody get involved in bringing this airline in. And if you're a common sense businessman, then you know it's the right thing to do. And we do need your help this one last time. You know, you challenged me, Mr. Farias, when I talked to you. I'm stepping up with these types of projects, and whether and the city is. I mean, it takes all of us commissioners to get this done, and I think we all do want to get it done. But we do need help. We understand that we do need help, and that's why we're here today.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Thank you very much, Commissioner Atkinson, for your passionate plea air service agreement to Brownsville, and I want to praise you and all the information that you provided the board.
Let me tell you something. I think we're needing assistance of $250,000. If that's not a number that's comfortable with y'all, we'll take anything. We just need to show the rest of the city commission and the city of Brownsville that we're together and wanting this service. You know, and it can be contingent. If y'all approve this, it can be contingent on the city commission approval of this airline coming in. So it doesn't have to be like, hey, you know what I'm saying? Go ahead.
I got interrupted as I was making my comments.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. I'll let you finish. But I just, again, want to commend you on your plea for air service in Brownsville. And I agree with all your comments that air service does provide a lot of important economic development for the city of Brownsville in retail, business, residential growth. And so all those aspects that air service does provide. And I remember that I was part of the committee when we were entertaining Continental to come into the city of Brownsville. I was the chairman of the Chamber of Commerce at that point, and so I was very much involved in that whole process on the bringing in airplane service to Brownsville. And so I realized all the economic benefits that this would provide, and so we support all your efforts, all your activities in this arena. And so at this point in time, I'll open it up to the board to any questions or comments that they would want to ask Commissioner Atkins.
No, the only question was, with all due respect, the planning, again, I'm always with the planning. We needed, air service in Mexico or other cities. Where was the planning behind this? How come the city didn't have the planning or the resources?
Well, the planning was there. I commend the airport staff for doing their due diligence. They worked with a firm also that checks the credits of every company coming in. When we got American Airlines and Continental, they didn't go through this process that this airline's going through. They were just given, it's just like everybody knew that Continental and American Airlines were legit airline, so they didn't go through a vetting process. We were just so happy that they wanted to come to Brownsville. And that's what these people go every year to conferences and try to attract airlines. The last 20 years, they've been doing that. So it's always been open. Anybody can come in and give a proposal. There's no stopping anybody from giving a proposal to the city of Brownsville.
And I remember, on that point, that when Continental was being asked to look at this area, one of the important aspects that brought Continental was the revenue that the cargo service was going to produce.
Exactly.
The passenger service, they realized it was going to take time to get up to a level where they would see that it was going to be profitable for them. But really, what enticed Continental to come into this area was the cargo, and that's really how they got interested to come in this area. So I just wanted to clarify that.
But with all due respect, Mr. McNair, the planning was there. It's been planned for the last 8-9 years. We just had to find an airline that would fit the planning and the studies, and that's why they have this. It's not something that just happened in 2 months. It's something that's happened over 10 years, 8 years.
I just want to comment, we see it. We see it. You see on the roads here in Brownsville, you see all the Mexican cars. And we know, the problems that we're having. And I think it's something that's very important, what y'all are doing, your work and trying to bring in take advantage of the situation. And the situation is that people want to fly in. And that's why I was curious, because I know I have a friend that does flights from Monterey back and forth. And I was just wondering how many, and that's a lot of flights.
A lot of flights, and we're not capturing any of the PFCs. And you have Mexican aircraft landing in our airport that aren't checked by us. This is American Airlines. If something happens, if the president changes in Mexico, it's okay. This company's from the United States, and as far this airline taps into everything, even education. How many people from Monterey could go to school here at UTV? You have a big opportunity where they can fly home for 40 minutes. They can get home for $130. It can open up the doors for every business here in Brownsville, and every retail business. It's just the fact that we just gotta think outside the box and for the future of this city. And I strongly believe within 8-10 months, city will get those sales taxes in that we need. 70% of the South Padre Island, the condos over there, they're owned by people from Monterey and Tampico. You know, there's a need for them to land here.
So this money, I'm sorry, Chair. This money you're asking for is it's like a promissory note, or it's you need the money?
If you were to help us out, it's gonna show the commission that there's other players here that want this service. And GBIC, who put up $250,000, you know, they're in need of partnerships with different entities to get this done. The city, I'm not gonna say we're not gonna be, we're gonna put up the $750,000 that goes along with the $250,000. So the city will be in it for $750,000, GBIC's in it for the $250,000 and the $750,000, and then we're hoping PUB, through your generosity and for the vision of the next 20 years of our city, can come to the table and help us. And if we need to you know, I don't know, go ahead.
Well, I mean, I think that, you know, your statements are all true. I don't doubt that they're not true. I mean, it looks like you've got your act together on this air service arrangement that you're trying to work out. My question to the board is, as a board, our responsibility is to the Public Utility Board, and so I don't know what other questions or comments that you have on the request to assist. I guess this would be a Mexican company.
No, it's a U.S. company.
A U.S. company, I'm sorry, that through this agreement that we're just looking at right now, we really didn't have any information here in front of us, so I don't really know that we have really the adequate time to make a decision today, because all of this was just presented at the nth hour. So I don't know if there's any other comment that the board would like to make or a recommendation at this time.
Chairman, I'd like to ask one more question.
Sure.
On, I guess, page 2 here, you have a letter from Bob Pinkerton, mayor of South Padre Island.
Yes.
I mean, they seem to be an entity in a community that would benefit greatly from.
We're on the agenda. Right?
We're on the agenda for them.
Northern Economic Development and for Port Isabel's City Commission and for the Board of Wells.
And let me tell you something, if any monies that come back from them will go back to GBIC and PUB. You know, if South Padre says, you know what, we need this, let's give them $100,000 or something, that money comes back, and it'll go back into GBIC and PUB, if that's the way you so wish.
Well,
right now, it's supposed to go back to, go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, my comment more than anything is they stand to benefit as much as the city of Brownsville.
All right.
And the city of Brownsville already looks like we're putting in 1.75 million of that too.
Who?
Is that what we're committing to? Oh, no, we're committing to what?
What? Right now, when I talk about the millions, that doesn't have to be, it's only like a bond in case, for some reason, these guys don't sell any flights, which I think it's pretty fair to say that they're gonna sell seats.
No, and that's fine. And actually, I mean, this is actually a great opportunity, I believe. But what I see is that there is not shared risk in this, right? And I think the one entity that stands to benefit as much, if not potentially more, than the city of Brownsville is actually South Padre Island.
Yes.
And they would then, I would believe, be able to go 50-50 on an opportunity like this. That's just my comment on that.
I totally agree with you, but if we wait for another city, it's almost, and this is just me, I want to work with other cities. We reach out to other cities, but right now everybody's strapped. So it wasn't their project. So you're gonna get more of a, hey man, you want it, you do it. That's the way. The difference that separates us down here than McAllen and Mission and Edinburgh is that they all see a bigger picture. Down here, it just seems like everybody wants to be separate all the time and do their own projects. And if it's not my project, it's not a good project. You know, it's sad that it's like that. And we want to reach out with more cities. And they're on the agenda for South Padre. South Padre might come back and say, you know what do we need to do? We'll give you $100,000 or $200,000. with that, and we're gonna tell them, you give us this money, we're just gonna distribute back to some of our boards that have helped us out. I mean, that's the way it's gonna come back. See, but this project has been through the BDC, through the GBIC, through the Brownsville Advisory Board, and through our city staff. So other boards have already unanimously passed it. You know, but I do wanna reiterate, the city commission just felt like it needed one more test before it could take off. And by my talks with Jason Hills, it's gonna be done by Friday, because they are currently flying right now, and they are a legit company, and they are, you know, it's just, they are who they are. You know what I mean?
Hey,
Okay, I mean, so at this point in time, we're looking for a recommendation from the board, and so if anybody has a recommendation.
Based on what you just said, Commissioner, you know, that the money's just gonna be sitting there. You know, PUB is kind of strapped also, you know.
Yeah.
We've got, you know, operation and maintenance. I mean, we, you know, they're strapped to work out with what they have also. Being on what you said a little while ago, that the money's just gonna be sitting there, but you need the money. You know, my recommendation would be, Mr. Chairman, that, my motion would be to, go ahead and allow the $250,000. But should you use the money, or the city use the money for this reason, for the air travel, that we go ahead and get it paid back at 0% interest, you know, from the cash transfer fund, that we give it to the city, which subtract it from there. Under a 10-month program, a 10-month, you know, period, and if the money's there, you use it, and then we'll just subtract it from the cash transfer. But the money, you'll have it there at 0% interest.
So your recommendation is?
To allow, you know, get it from our, if so, from our,
If I may,
Yes, Mr.
if I may, the recommendation I was gonna make is to, if we're gonna proceed with the funding, is to add it to the $2.5 million economic assistance we're providing the city with, out of mid-year surplus monies, and then, you know, have it drawn down by the city as they need it. This will keep it below the line. It's not part of the O&M budget. It's not a sponsorship. It's not part of the city transfer to 10%, but it's below the line, similar to how we do the $2.5 million economic assistance. And it would be out of mid-year surplus, $250. That's how we would fit it into the budget.
So there is a structure based on Mr. Nakada's recommendation.
Well, I think
what I'm trying to say is
See if we can reduce
that
the transfer.
we can reduce the transfer, you know, we can reduce the transfer, if the city uses that money,
Yeah.
those funds, we reduce it from the transfer on a monthly basis. You know, the 25,000, instead of paying them, you know, 200,000, we give them 175, and we pay ourselves.
You're talking about what y'all are paying right now?
Yes.
Because that's already been put toward a budget for 2010.
Yes, but then
That's what
again,
I'm saying.
Commissioner, like you said, the money's just gonna be there because with the amount of flights coming in, more than likely, you're not gonna use that money anyway. But this way, you do have the.
Well, I think the 250,000, Ms. Nada, is there, if you look at the agreements, it's 500,000 startup for this company to take off. They gotta put terminals in, and they got to, put terminals in Monterrey and Mexico City. They gotta market, they gotta start up the websites for and put their fees that they have to pay, Travelocity, Expedia, all these people that are currently doing booking services, they all have to get paid right up front. So I think the structure of the deal is 500,000 and
On
the
an interest-free
100.
loan, you're gonna get $300,000 to $400,000 in PFCs, you know, the first year. So easily you can come out of that, or where we can structure it. Or like
We
what you
would
said,
have to structure the payback totally separate,
Okay.
because the cash transfer is in the covenants. We can only adjust it by usage.
Okay.
But
this is not, I mean, this is not necessarily I mean, what they're asking, this is a separate grant. I mean, this is not going to the city.
It's not a grant, it's
This
a
is,
bond.
I mean, yeah, I know, but
I would
that's why
recommend-
I mean, you're talking about a separate thing than what Mr. Nahida has recommended. His motion, as I understand it, is to give the $250,000 on the basis that we will deduct $25,000 a month from from the money that we granted to them. That's what his motion is. You're talking about a separate way of doing it, and so we're not,
And my
they're two
recommendation
different
is
things.
to award it, earmark it for the city.
He knows how Pete
And
thinks, that's why,
let the
he knows how
city
Pete thinks.
award it the way they want to the airline.
Okay.
And in our books, it would just be economic assistance to the
Okay,
city.
and how does the PUB recoup the money?
We would have to have a separate agreement, with the city's finance to.
Okay.
And plus, Mr. Anna, if anybody does give financial help, like PB, South Padre Island, or even the Port of Brownsville, that's gonna come back into the coffers of PUB and/or GBA to help this for we can put that language in it, but it might be better to do it the way he said.
No problem.
Yeah.
Chairman,
Yes, Mr. Rodriguez.
do you have to go back to the city to ask for anything?
Yes.
What, as far as what? With as far as the city will know by next Tuesday, if it's on the agenda, that, hey, look, all the due diligence was done, PUB decided to step up and help us, they'll know that, and the finance will already say, okay, this is what you're is required of the city.
The city would have to set the 250 and then earmark it in their books.
Yeah.
And
With
assistance.
all due respect, I mean, one commissioner cannot commit the city to give us any money back from anybody else. I mean, with all due respect, Mr. Commissioner, I mean, you can't make a decision because Commissioner says if
Well,
South Padre gives us money, you're gonna get that.
But
money back.
let Mike Jones talk about that.
My name is Joe Torres, I think some of you know me. The 250,000 that was committed through GBIC that was their part. The other 250,000 is what the city's gonna put in. The city is asking the partners, which is PUB, South Padre Island, Port Isabel, and other communities, to help with those 250,000. Now, if everybody helps in those 250,000, the amount is gonna be less. Say, PUB puts in 50,000, Port Isabel puts another 50, the island puts 150 here. That's gonna be brought down, and the amount that you contribute is gonna be less. So out of those 250,000, it's gonna be shared with those communities. And depending on what they're going to put on the table, is what the amount's gonna be.
Well, that wasn't what was asked of the.
Yeah, well, okay, I know that you have a recommendation that you're suggesting, Mr. Nata, and so at this point in time, I'm requesting from the board if there's any other questions or recommendations at this time.
Was that a motion?
Second, yeah.
No, that's just a recommendation, or is that a motion?
No, I made a motion to go ahead and allow the 250, but as an interest-free loan where we're gonna get it paid back if they do use it in 10 months.
And the interest-free loan is gonna be from who? Who is
PUB,
but who is the loan to?
to the city of Brownsville, if they get that service from the airlines, whatever airlines it is, from Data or wherever they're RFP.
I think Leandro, go ahead.
I would like to suggest that we add to the motion, is really to amend the current economic assistance package, the 2.5, by 250.
That's better.
Mid-year surplus.
That's better.
And that way that amount is adjusted in the budget.
Okay, but that amount that was, adjusted that you're talking about, that was a gift.
Right.
A
Well,
grant. This is gonna be a loan, interest-free loan, getting it paid back in 10 months.
we can attach.
And that would have to be approved by the city commission and so on, because that's gonna be paid back. That's how I approve, that's how I make my
So you
motion.
want it back in 10 months?
Yes, sir.
I mean, yeah, from what I hear, can y'all consider as part of your motion that if you're going to give anything, that it would be equal to what South Padre gives or what Port Isabel gives or something like that, so that you're not, I mean, if you commit the 250 today, then, you know, tomorrow, South Padre doesn't have to give anything.
No, that's not true. That's not true, Mr. Rodriguez, because at the 250,000, if they do give financial assistance, it's gonna, you can make it, you can do what GBIG did. GBIG said, look, we're gonna give you 250,000 and then the 750 on the back. If you need the subsidies due, they do need to tap into the subsidies, and that's how we're doing it. The city was gonna do the same thing, 250 and the 750,000. What we're saying is whatever money comes in, GBIG worked it to where like whatever money's coming from these entities, you're gonna pay us in the city are gonna get paid back into our coffers. That's the way it is worked. So anything that comes in from South Padre Island is gonna go back. And you can work it like that too. If this 250,000, Mr. Nagata, you can say, hey, whatever monies you do collect from these other cities, because being somebody who's dealt with some of these cities, it's gonna be hard for them to even give 10,000 or 20 because they're strapped. But whatever that comes back, we can work it like GBIG did and say, hey, give it back to PUB. Since PUB's putting up to 250,000, it's all in fairness to put it
Commissioner
back
Atkinson, I
to.
need to put order. I mean, I appreciate you coaching Mr. Nakara and everything.
I'm not coaching him.
Well, whatever
I
you
need
do,
no coaching.
I mean, you've got a motion and
That's my
therefore
motion.
you're clarifying, and I'm just, at this point in time, we just need to proceed forward with
Exactly.
with what your intentions are, Mr. Nakara, and so I just want to clarify your motion again.
Okay, my motion is to put up the $250,000 as a loan, interest-free loan, and for the city to pay it back in 10 installments back to PUB if they do use that money. And Mr. CFO, Mr. Garcia, however you can arrange that, we'll go from there.
Okay.
That's my
Have a
motion.
I want to second that, but before I second it, I want to clarify that we are also talking about South Padre Island coming in as a major player.
Yes, whatever money, they're on the agenda.
Okay.
If we're able to capture financial help from them, okay, yeah.
Okay, there's a first and a second, yes. Mr.
Okay, so I have one last question. I hate to belabor this, but, okay, so you said, City of Brownsville's in for 250 with essentially a tail of 750, right? If needed.
If needed.
Right, so 250 up front with 750 on the back end if need be. And then GBIC is in with 250 with 750 on the back end. Did I understand that correctly?
Yeah.
Okay, then that's your 2 million, isn't it?
Yeah, the 500,000 is the startup cost that needs to be paid right away.
Right, and that's what City of
Then everything
Brownsville
else-
and BCIC
yeah, everything else
or
is-
GBIC is committed to.
The
right?
250 and the 250, yeah.
So if they don't need the 250 from PUB, they won't use it.
Right, okay.
Okay.
Trying to get all the numbers.
Just to make sure you all understand what you're voting for. Your motion was to loan the city $250,000 to be paid back in 10 monthly installments?
Yes.
For the
$25,000 a piece at interest-free.
Interest rate.
If used.
If used. And subject to the city commission.
And I have a second. I just, at this point in time, I think as far as economic development and having to do with this type of project, that we really don't have a lot of information at hand for us to make a good decision. And I think we need more time, the board needs more time to understand fully the ramifications of going down this road and opening up for economic development purposes, which we've never done before. Our fiduciary responsibility is to the Public Utility Board and everything having to do with capital improvement. And so I think we're mixing business interests having to do with economic development that has no business with Public Utility Board. And so I just think that we need to do more careful analysis before we make a decision. And that's my comments. I call it for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
1, 2, 3. Aye. All against? I vote against.
Thank you very much, members. Chairman. Thank you.
Okay, we got okay. Mr. We have have one public comment. Mr. Ayala, you want to go ahead and...
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, fellow board members. 3 years ago, I was here in front of the PUB board asking for your support of the historic Brownsville Open. It was the Futures Durbin LPGA Development Golf Tour for ladies. PUB held it for $5,000. Last year, I came in front of this board once again, soliciting help with the historic Brownsville Open. And PUB stepped forward with $5,000 and helped us run this tournament, which is to bring tourism, economic, business, and what have you. This year, we no longer have the historic Brownsville Open due to economic reasons. But I did not forget what PUB did for us and for the city. So I'm just here to say thank you for everything you've done for the community and for what you did for the Brownsville Convention and Business Bureau. And although we're not here with a golf tournament, I do appreciate everything PUB has done, and I'm very grateful, and I'm sure that a lot of citizens in this wonderful city are just as grateful as I am, and that's all I want to say is thank you very much, PUB, for being who you are. That's all.
Thank you for those good comments. Appreciate it. Okay, we have the next item. We're on item number, which one? Number 5. Discussion on fiscal year 2011 operation and maintenance budget status as of February 28, 2011.
Table that.
I have a motion to table.
Number 8 as well.
Also number 8, table 5 and 8. Do I have a motion?
Second.
Second, all in favor? Aye. Okay.
You brought 8 up also to be discussed at this time, so you tabled both 5 and 8.
Yes. Item number 7, presentation, consideration approval of engineering firm selection for the development of a power supply integrated resource plan and authorization for the general manager to negotiate and execute a contract.
We skipped number 6.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, let's go back to item number 6. Consideration approval of the Brownsville Public Utilities Board naming of buildings or other physical asset policy.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, we did have a committee meeting on this. We did establish a policy. It's in your packet. And the committee members are here if they want to comment on that. I think it's a good policy. And we have the mechanism now. If we want to name something, that we can bring that back to the board.
I make a motion to accept the staff recommendations.
Have a motion, second by Mr. Nakata. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Okay. Item number 7, consideration approval of engineering firm selection for the development of a power supply integrated resource plan and authorization for the general manager to negotiate and execute a contract. Mr. McCann.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. PB's power supply planning process requires an update to the power supply integrated resource plan. We've got 3 engineering firms here tonight to make 10-minute presentations to you. And unless you have questions, we'd like to proceed on with that.
Okay, we'll proceed forward.
And we're going to draw here to see who goes first. The other 2 firms will go outside the room, and then we'll proceed. We've got Burns and McDonald, Mr. Keith Harris. You can come up, and you've got handouts that I'll take from you. And we need some help with the PowerPoints you've got loaded up.
It's going to be second.
I want to see if you recognize your PowerPoint. And the second firm will be Black and Beach, and then RW Bank. And you've got 10 minutes. We'll give you a 1-minute warning. Thank you.
Chairman, members of the board, I appreciate the opportunity to be here and discuss this issue with you. Certainly, power supply planning is a significant effort for utilities to deal with, and certainly the issues that you've been talking about tonight point to the need for consideration of growth in the community. Burns McDonnell is a large firm. We have over 3,000 employees. We were formed in 1898 to serve primarily municipal utilities as they developed their water, wastewater, and electric utilities, and we've been serving them ever since. We're among the top 10 largest of the U.S.-based AE firms, and we offer a full service from planning to design and permitting to construction, and we really understand the business that you all are in and are confronted with. Burns McDonnell is one of the highest firms in client satisfaction in the engineering news records, and we've received an award. We're the only engineering firm to receive that in the top 100. So we're very proud of that. We've got a very large presence in Texas. Our Houston office is over 100 engineers, and we've got offices in Dallas and Fort Worth as well. We understand the Texas situation. We're also a very diverse company from the standpoint of the services that we offer. We've got numerous divisions, 4 of which are focused primarily on the electric utility sector. And I'm in what's called the Business and Technology Services Group, which is the consulting arm of Burns McDonnell. We've also got environmental studies and permitting, which permits transmission lines and power plants. The T&D group, which designs transmission and distribution facilities, and then the energy group, which designs and builds power plants. So we use these people significantly in our studies, as we have specific design experience and input into these studies to get the most up-to-date construction costs, operating costs, permitting issues that we're looking at, and other things. So our consulting arm of the BTS group does all the planning for the resources, generation and transmission both. One of the significant things that we deal with is integrated resource planning, which is a combination of the supply and demand side resources that utilities have. And we take everything from the load forecast on through to the analysis and recommendations for new power supplies. This is the overall flow chart that we use. Certainly we can do any or all of this effort that the city may need. For instance, if the city has a load forecast, then we will use the city's forecast and start from that point on. But we can take a look at all of the resources that the city uses in its power supply, and can assess the longevity of those and what may need to be changed, and how long they could serve the city. So what we're dealing with today in a lot of utilities is retirements associated with significant investments due to environmental upgrades and these kinds of things. And also we look at the demand side, where you can actually conserve and peak shaving and demand side programs. And we also have a significant presence in the renewable market, so we understand the solar and wind and other options that may be available there. Certainly, we know all of the different types of generation technologies, and we actually construct and build these types of units. And one of the advantages of Burns McDonnell is we will only consider and recommend options that make sense for the city. And this is both from the fuel standpoint and the size and technology as we see that would work for the city in its situation. We've got a lot of projects ongoing that touch on all of the factors that utilities deal with in the integrated resource planning process, from the IRPs in total, from resource and demand side all the way down to the smart grid. And we know everything that's going on in that area and can assist and evaluate options for the city. These are some of the recent projects that we've worked on. Specifically in Texas, we've worked with South Texas Electric Co-op on their Pearsall plant, which was a large set of engine generators. The Tom Dart Energy Center up in Greenville, Texas. And then we've developed the Goodman Energy Center up in Hays, Kansas. We've also developed one of the largest battery storage technologies which has been put in play here in Texas. We've also got combined heat and power at the Thermal Energy Corp at the Texas Medical Center that we're building.
So we've got a lot of presence in Texas, and we know what works and what doesn't work for utilities. This process we have used in numerous studies where we start with the data collection, review the situation that the utility is seeing itself in, and then work through the process to develop both supply and demand side alternatives. Should you wish to have a public involvement process, we are certainly able to help facilitate that involvement. And then we look at the integrated analysis and then definitely do the reporting and presentations to the city on the outcomes. Just to give you an example of the kind of software that we use to help look at this, the software allows us to evaluate thousands of different options and permutations for the city and its power supply considerations. And so we will use this software, which is approved by the public service commissions in numerous states, to be used in defense of integrated resource plans that have to be filed with public service commissions. And then certainly the best plan is not very good if it can't be communicated well, not only to the board but to the public itself. And so we work significantly in helping the utility to develop a proper communication format and provide presentations to the management board and public as needed. So we've got a very experienced team at Barnes-McDonnell. We certainly know the municipal utilities forwards and backwards. And basically the bottom line is we really want to work with you to help you move forward in your process here. I think we have a few minutes for some questions. Did my timing correctly?
Oh, it's good. Perfect. Thank you very much for waiting patiently for your presentation. I know it's been a long evening.
You've got a lot on your plate.
Yes, and this is a very important decision, so I really appreciate your expertise in this matter, and open up for the board any questions.
What was the battery storage system that you all put in place? Where was that put in place?
It's a 10 megawatt facility up in Encore's system, and it's used in a substation to help balance out, peak load needs so that the feeders can be more evenly loaded.
Is that Houston?
Actually, I think this one is up in the Dallas area. I'm not sure specifically which substation it's in.
How long have you worked with this, with PUB?
I personally would be new to PUC or PUB, but Burns-McDonnell has worked with Brownsville over the years a number of times. I think our last service to you was in the transmission rate area.
Well, if you get this contract, will you have a local presence here, an office or something here?
We can certainly talk about that. We would certainly make use of our office up in Houston to minimize travel expenses and those types of things. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. There's some additional information in your packet there about the firm. But, anyway, appreciate the opportunity to talk to you tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Harris. Appreciate it.
Yes. Yes. Okay, we've got Robert Pasterlak.
You got it.
Okay.
Thank you.
From Black and Deep. We'll give you 10 minutes. We'll give you a 1-minute warning if you need it.
Okay.
And we'll give you a minute to get started.
All right. That's right. Our wing is this. What's that? Oh. And then each click. And then you go back. You're on. All right. Well, hi, I'm Rob Petrolak, and first of all, I want to thank you on behalf of myself and Black and Beach for inviting us in to talk about our qualifications and capability to provide an update to your integrated resource plan in an effort to develop short-term and long-term planning and their complementary capacity and energy strategies. What I hope to be able to demonstrate is why I think Black and Beach is best qualified to provide this particular service. For the agenda, basically I wanted to do an introduction of myself, tell you a little bit about myself, talk about Black and Beach from a high level, walk through our qualifications and experience, and then basically summarize why I feel Black and Beach is best qualified to provide this service. As for myself, again, I'm Rob Petrolak. I'm a managing director at Black and Beach. I lead our strategic resource planning service line, which actually encompasses the scope of services that we're talking about here. I, in the past, have led the same practice areas at R.W. Beck, as well as Ventix New Energy Associates. I know you're familiar with R.W. Beck. They'll be presenting, I guess, next. But Ventix New Energy Associates is basically the software developer that develops the leading integrated resource planning software that's used in the industry. It's a very well-known firm, and a lot of utilities are using this software, and this is what we use. I've been in the industry over 22 years, 10 years at utility, Pico Energy. Before that, I've also been at an energy trading and risk management organization, which was called the Energy Authority. I was there for 3 years. And then about 9+ years in consulting. So my background has really been in industry and in consulting. And over that time, I've developed a significant level of experience in integrated resource planning. And so as a result, I will, if Black and Beach is successful, I will be planning to lead this project for the city of Brownsville. Basically, Black and Beach Corporation is a leading global engineering and consulting company. 8,100 in the workforce, 100 offices worldwide, $2.3 billion in annual revenue. Main point of this slide is really to talk about our depth and breadth. I have a deep bench to pull from to gather experience and resources to do a good job on this project. Not necessarily just for the project team, but also just industry knowledge, technical knowledge, knowledge of the markets, all the detail behind that. Obviously, we're in various markets. Brownsville PUB is experienced in working with us on the energy side and the water side. We've worked on the rates, helping you with rates in the past. We've also worked with our management consulting area. We've done some modeling in the past, energy modeling, etc. And of course, the environmental supports all the different modeling pieces. Black and Beach is an industry leader, right? It was recognized last year by Engineering News Record as number 14 of the top 500 engineering design firms. It's third. It was ranked third in power, second in fossil fuel, and fourth in transmission and distribution. So it's nice that the industry speaks very highly of Black and Beach, and as opposed to coming in and saying that I think Black and Beach is. As far as qualifications and experience, this next slide, it really walks through at a high level what's involved in doing an update for an integrated resource plan. The first 5 bullets captures what I would characterize as the update and the development of the resource plan. And the last 2 bullets cover basically the implementation of that plan. So just quickly, a capacity needs analysis is where you look at load and you look at your reserve requirement, you match that up to existing resources, and you also look at what you plan to retire in the next couple of years. You find out whether you're short or long in the market. Then what you do is you identify resource alternatives that allow you to fill those gaps. And those could be solar, wind, combined cycle, assortment of different alternatives. And that's where our engineering strength comes into play, because we design and build these types of facilities, and so we have very good knowledge about what those costs are and what those technologies are capable of doing. Then you get into the detailed modeling, economic screening, detailed modeling, risk analysis, financial and rate analysis to understand what the impact would be of different resource plans, and then you select an optimal plan. That's the update part, the development part, and then the next piece is where you go to implement that plan, and that's when you go to market and you issue a power supply RFP, you look for proposals, you evaluate them, you shortlist them, and you negotiate the terms. And the reason I walk through that is I have a matrix that shows where Black & Veatch has worked with other utilities, and I break it out into these specific steps so you can get an assessment of how much we have done in this particular area. The detailed modeling is all about the ability to have high-quality tools, which, again, commercially available tools are accepted very well in the marketplace. I just did a testimony at Otter Tail Power where they were being challenged because they used a tool that wasn't commercially known, it was something that was privately developed, and so I testified on behalf of Otter Tail, explaining that their resource plan was valid and it made sense, and I testified on behalf of the tool. But what I'm saying is that some groups use tools that are not commercially available, and it can create problems down the road. This slide talks about our market knowledge and expertise. And basically, the takeaway here is we update our view, a base case view, and analyze the markets twice a year. We provide this information to our clients, and this is the underlying input assumptions that feed into all of our modeling and all of our integrated resource planning work. And so what happens is we're able to provide better informed decisions as it relates to this project. As I told you, basically across the top, the first, I'll call it a dark gray area, that's the development piece of it. The light gray area is the implementation of the plan. And what I've listed here is basically, over the last 7 years, we've done IRPs for about 70 different utilities. We've actually done more than over 100 integrated resource plans for utilities, but what's happened is over that time period, we've done multiple for some of these utilities, and so that's why it actually represents a larger footprint. But I put the Texas ones, the most recent Texas ones up front, and then it's basically alphabetical order, and you can see we do, you can see across here that we do a lot of the IRP update as well as the implementation for these different companies. Here's the next, just some others. Again, I want to point out that of the 70 utilities that we've done work for, 80% of these are for public power. So we're very familiar with public power, and we work well with public power. Again, this third slide, again, some more examples of where we've done it. You can see it's really across North America. And this last slide captures some of our international experience. And so Black & Veatch is a global company, and so we also get some international experience, and that's listed here above. Western Farmers Electric Cooperative is a perfect example where since 2000 we've done 6 IRPs for them, and we've issued 9 RFPs, requests for proposals in support of power supply. 1 minute, okay. So basically, why select Black & Veatch? Depth and breadth, we talked about that up front as far as the size of the organization and the engineering and consulting capability. Power and engineering expertise, industry recognized, right? July 2010, we were recognized 14th engineering design firm, 3rd in power, 2nd in fossil fuels, 4th in transmission. Market expertise, we have the electric market perspectives. We update that twice a year, and so that provides all the information. IRP, experience in Texas, as well as expertise with IRPs. 100 IRPs in the last 7 years, 70 different electric utilities, a lot of experience. And lastly, project management expertise. I mentioned up front that it's my plan to manage the project. Should we be selected, I feel as if I can work with staff to develop a scope, develop a timeline, and deliver the project within budget. With that, I'll thank you for the time, and I'll ask if there's any questions.
Thank you very much, Mr. Petrolak.
Where will your office be located?
My physical office?
Yes.
My physical office is in Atlanta.
Atlanta?
So, yeah, I'm based here in Atlanta. We have offices in Houston, so there would be some resources that would be used out of Houston. We have several out of Kansas City as well.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you very much for...
Actually, I have one, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
One last, I mean, besides all your vast years of experience and the like, I mean, what would separate Black and Beach from any of the, or any of your other competitors, really? Why would we choose, besides your show sheet? I mean, what really sets you all apart?
So I think that the level of integrated resource plan exceeds. So I've worked with with one of the other companies, and so I think that the experience in IRP is one big difference. The other piece is that electric market perspectives, and I didn't get into that in detail, but we're one of the few firms that actually updates our modeling twice a year and actually delivers that as a product. I know neither of the other two firms do that, and that serves as the underlying assumptions that are used in developing an integrated resource plan. So there's a lot of work effort that we leverage from that we don't just, we don't start trying to gather when we go and do this type of work. We also have, as a result of that, we have market experts here in ERCOT that are very knowledgeable about the market and actually develop the reports for that. And so we have a very good understanding of all the markets, but obviously this one focuses in ERCOT. And so we would be leveraging those people when they're based in Houston. To get back to your question.
Thank you. That's okay. Thank you very much. Appreciate the presentation.
Thank you very much.
Our last presentation is R.W. Beck, Tim Corrigan, and they changed their name actually, right, Tim?
Yes.
Yes.
Tell you about that.
Okay, you've got 10 minutes for your presentation, and then I'll ask questions. I'll give you a 1-minute warning.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, thank you for the opportunity to be here and talk briefly about R.W. Beck's capabilities and who we are now. My presentation is going to focus on two main things: our recommended approach on how to do this kind of an integrated resource plan and our qualifications to do that. First, before I jump into that though, R.W. Beck has been serving the municipal public power business since its inception about 70 years ago. And in 2009, we were acquired by SAIC. SAIC is a very large federal contractor, but didn't have an energy commercial business. R.W. Beck and also the Benham Engineering Companies were acquired as two companies to put together an energy-focused, utility-focused business for SAIC. So I won't go into all this slide in any detail, but where before R.W. Beck was about 600 people serving the public power community and utility business across the country, we're now part of a 40-some thousand person company that does all the range from feasibility and planning and financial, which is where R.W. Beck came from, to now we can do EPC contracts, design, bid, build kinds of activities. We have deep energy risk management capability, sustainability folks, climate change. SAIC has climate change scientists that feed information into our resource plans when it comes to the cost of carbon, for example. So we're part of a much bigger family now. Our recommended approach for this kind of work would be basically in 3 pieces. First, we need to sit down with PUB staff and guidance from the board to determine the objectives for the study. And by that, we mean there are certain policy things that come from you and from management on what the study needs to include. That may be reserve levels. Oftentimes, it's got to do with rate policy. Some utilities want to see small rate changes, like 2 or 3% a year, and not big increases. Other utilities don't want to be going back to their citizens and ratepayers for multiple annual increases, so they'd rather take a big bite when they have to and then leave them alone in the future. So those kinds of policy guidance we need to get from you up front. How much green resource you want to have, your commitment to renewables, how much as a premium you're willing to spend, so to speak, to incorporate renewable resources. Those are the kinds of things that need to come from you as objectives. Once we have those objectives, then we sit down with staff and agree on the strategy. Is this an incremental approach, small additions of capacity over time? Do you want to be part of a joint project and a bigger project and have partners? Do you value energy and capacity here in Brownsville on the Brownsville transmission system to avoid some of the transmission constraints? Those are that's part of the strategy that we would work with staff to develop the study. Once we get that done, then it's basically dive in and do the modeling. There's a lot of work in the models in order to set up a base case, we call it, for you to look at your system and what would the system look like with this kind of capacity addition and these amounts, and what would the economics and risks of that look like at the end. Excuse me. This is a quick model or a flow chart of the way we do our resource plans. Essentially, we start up front with all the inputs on the generation options, the load forecast, what your existing fleet looks like. Then we develop a market model of ERCOT so that we know how your generation will operate within the market. And then we thank you. I'm gonna make it. Then we simulate your options with the new portfolio alternatives within the ERCOT market and see how that is going to impact both your current generation and the new alternatives. And the bottom line is we have an optimization model that serves to help identify the lowest cost and lowest risk. And I'll say a bit more about that in a second. I went back into some old studies that we had done for PUB and looked at some of the outputs. This is an example of various resources you were looking at maybe 10 or 12 years ago. And it shows how some resources are the most economical at lower use, and other resources are most economical at higher use. And that's just another snapshot of the way the output helps staff look at various alternatives. This is kind of messy, but it serves to make, I think, a good fundamental point about resource planning. This is a theoretical model of a particular resource portfolio with dozens of options. And what you find is the lowest cost option oftentimes has the most volatility. So if you choose the lowest cost and down the road some natural gas prices change or there is interruption in fuel supply due to rail strikes or those kinds of things, the lowest cost could end up to be much higher. So when we do a resource plan, we look at both costs and the exposure to volatility and risk. And it may be that your best solution is not the absolute lowest cost, but one that is reasonably low, but also minimizes your variability from unforeseen events. Finally, I just wanted to say that part of your plan may be an RFP to solicit firm power supply from third parties. And we have done quite a bit of that kind of contract work putting together those RFPs and evaluating them. So that could be part of your strategy going forward. What are our qualifications? You know, simply said, this is one of our core capabilities. R.W. Beck grew up working for municipal electric utilities doing this kind of work. We've done this many times for PUB in the past, and we expect to be able to provide PUB with a long-term roadmap through this study if we're selected that gives PUB a plan moving forward, but one that has flexibility to accommodate things that would change as it puts this plan into the future. We have a lot of technical expertise. I've talked a bit about the fact that we do these studies, but we really do have deep technical capability in coal-fired generation, natural gas-fired generation. We've literally worked on hundreds of wind projects from an independent engineering perspective. We are working right now for the Department of Energy on a wide range of biofuels projects, so we know the biofuels and the green technologies there. We've advised developers on PV solar, concentrating solar, and solar thermal projects, and we have been involved in a number of geothermal projects as well. So we've got the technical expertise, and that really is important to our planning and feasibility folks to know that we're really grounded in solid costs and understanding of the technologies. We also are, through our SAIC brethren that's now part of the company, we have a very robust energy efficiency group that administers, frankly, the state energy plans and rebate plans in Hawaii, Wisconsin, and New York, among other things. So we've got the energy efficiency piece covered. And I don't want to overplay my card that we've been here before, but frankly, we've got a long history of being partners with PUB in resource planning and power supply and transmission issues. We helped you buy the original local union capacity back in the 80s, and we helped look at the economics of taking another additional increment of local union a number of years back. We've helped you look at the Hidalgo purchase. We've supported and helped with the development of the distributed diesel generation resources. And we've looked with staff at a number of the distribution projects at the port, generation projects at the port. And we understand ERCOT and transmission issues. We understand what it means for PUB to be down here on the end of the valley system. We have a close working relationship with staff. So I think without overplaying what we've done before, that long-term relationship with PUB assures that we understand the situation down here, and we're committed to helping meet those challenges. We have the deep capability and experience, and we have a long history of working these kinds of assignments for municipal electric utilities. We've done a number of RFP processes if you end up doing a firm power purchase kind of approach. And we like the folks here and enjoy working with the staff, and we would very much like to do this work for you tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Corrigan, for your presentation and your patience and waiting so long to make your presentation.
Certainly fine.
As I open up to the board, do you have any questions for Mr. Corrigan?
Where's your office located at? Your office? Here in Denver?
I'm located in Denver. The folks that would be working with me on this project would be in Denver and Orlando, and probably would use some of our resources in Austin.
Thank you very much, and we appreciate all the work that you've done for PUB in the past. Appreciate the presentation.
Thank you, and I appreciate your attention. I know it's beginning to be a long night for you as well.
Yeah, we already ate once, we're going to eat again.
So this is an action item if you wish it to be tonight.
Okay, Mr. McCann, as far as staff's recommendation, you're all...
All three firms are, let's say, equally qualified. There may be some minor differences, but they're all well-qualified national firms to do this work for us.
And as far as their expertise with ERCOT and our situation down here, they're all familiar with our transmission issues and and that, then I guess, other issues that we're gonna be looking at.
They have people on their staff that are familiar with all of those.
And there's questions from the board members as far as location of their office. Is that important or?
That's never been a detrimental factor in this type of work. I would think there'd be times that they would come down and stay several days to maybe a week at a time, but there's not really a need to be here all of the time.
Who did the last study on the integrated resource plan?
I'm thinking Beck did.
RW Beck, okay.
Yes.
They've done them all.
Okay, this is staff recommends a selection of an engineering firm for the development of a power supply integrated resource plan, authorization for the general manager to negotiate and execute a contract with a selected firm. Is there interest on the board? Yes, sir.
I'd like to recommend that we move forward with the firm of Black and Beach.
Okay, there's a motion to move forward with Black and Beach. Is there a second? A second. Is there a second by Mr. Nájera? Any discussion? Okay, I'll call for a vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay, Black and Beach. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you all for being here tonight. We have item number 8, presentation, discussion.
We have the consent agendas left.
Okay, but on this particular item, on the election rates and fees, I have a motion to table.
We did it.
It was
You
on the
did
table,
it
so I-
earlier.
So I don't have.
You
to
did it
table
with number 5 already.
Okay.
Combination.
Have consent items 1 through 15. Does everybody have any questions on any of the items? If not, I entertain a motion to approve the consent items 1 through 15. Motion by Dr. Morales. Second. By Mr. Vasquez. All in favor? Aye. The motion passes. Is there any other? Okay, then I have a motion to adjourn.
Yes.
Okay. Second. All in favor? Aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll see you.